Hello, everyone, and welcome to this 152nd episode of BeMyGuest, the live show dedicated to the automotive world and new mobility. I am Stéphanie Cansell, and we are live on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. And this podcast will be in English, donc c'est en anglais aujourd'hui, parce que mon invité ne parle pas français. So we're going to talk about hypercars and extreme hypercars. Italians are known for their automotive design. It's curvy, sensual, sophisticated. The Fulminea by Italian car manufacturer Automobili Estrema is not just another pretty face, if I may say so. Behind the breathtaking design hides a breakthrough battery technology. The Fulminea is a tech lab on wheels displaying a hybrid battery pack made of solid-state batteries and ultracapacitors, and the whole battery system is managed by artificial intelligence. This allows astonishing performances such as 0 to 200 miles or 320 kilometers in under 10 seconds. And the icing on the cake, it is more eco-friendly. Today, I'm happy to host the man behind this extreme project, Gianfranco Pizzuto, CEO and founder of Automobili Estrema. Ciao, Gianfranco.
Bonjour, Stéphanie.
And benvenuto.
Grazie mille. You know, actually, I do speak French, but not so 100%. Sometimes with the technical specification and so on. My French is good to do vacation and to go to the restaurant, etc. And maybe I lack on the technical part. I should improve, and I will, because I love French and France.
So, Gianfranco, let's talk first about you. What is your personal background? Have you always been in the automotive industry?
Well, not. There is some parallel with another very famous Italian that was starting the business much earlier than me, which is Tonino Lamborghini. He was doing tractors. And actually, the Lamborghini brand as a tractor still exists, And I have a similar background. So I was doing agricultural machinery and also special, exactly right, and also a special track vehicle, which was allowing the machines to be attached and moved. So this is my background for more than 20 years. And then in 2007, I had the chance to switch industry, which is the industry I always loved and dreamed about, the automotive industry.
So what did you do in 2007?
Well, it was a very stressful period of my life because I was missing home a lot. I was spending more than 50% of my time outside my four walls. And I was living more on airplanes than in my family. And therefore, I thought either I need to change my lifestyle, or if it's not possible, I probably have to, detach by going away from the company that I also co-founded. And I received an offer from one of my partners, a monetary offer, of course, to take over my shares. I accepted, and I didn't know what to do. This was early summer of 2007. And then we took a very long vacation with my family. And coming back, I saw something that was changing my life forever, which is an initial rendering of the karma, the Fisker karma. And I told my wife, I know what to do. I'm going to help this company to raise money. Exactly. This is the car. And so I went to California, met with Henrik Fisker, and gave him a part of the money I was receiving because I was selling my shares of the company. And together, we started the Fisker Automotive, which is the company that was then finally producing the Karma. So this was my beginning in the automotive world. So roughly 15 years ago.
So the Karma had some similarities with the Fulminea because it had beautiful design and it was very much sustainable and electric,
Yes.
of course.
Yeah, actually it was a plug-in hybrid. So it was the Karma was not completely electric. You could do 80 kilometers. We have to understand that it was in 2007 that we started the business, where there was no infrastructure for the recharging of the batteries. It was the only way you could do it with a fair amount of certainty was to do it at home. So the idea we had is that you charge the car in your garage during the day, and then when you're doing the commuting, you're using the battery power. And in America, because the company was born in California, in America, the average commuting of 90% of the population is 50 miles. So less, let's say, up to 50 miles. So 25 miles one way, 25 miles, which is 80 kilometers. So the idea is that you charge at home. So when you start in the morning, you go to work, you use the electric power, and then you come back. And eventually, if you have to do, like a longer distance, then you have also the possibility to have the gasoline engine that works as a generator, right? So as a generator, it was producing electricity for another 400 kilometers. So you could go forever. And this is why we also use the acronymous EVER, which means EV, electric vehicle, ER, extended range, because the generator, the gasoline engine, was a range extender, so you could go farther. But today, in 2022, after 15 years, we have more battery performance. The cost of the batteries dropped. The overall infrastructure has improved dramatically. So for us now, there is no more reason to use plug-in hybrid technology, and that's the reason why the Fulminea is a 100% full electric powertrain.
So how was the Fulminea born? It happened during the first lockdown, I think. It started as a joke.
It started almost like when the kids are doing some car games. Nobody has experienced before a lockdown, a general lockdown that first was striking in Europe, was striking Italy first, as you know, and we went into lockdown in early March, and then little by little all of Europe was affected, including France and England and Germany. And I knew that a lot of my colleagues and designers and engineers of the automotive industry were in the same situation like me. So, avoiding to get depressed because everyone had other projects in mind. I wanted to, because I try always to be positive. Also, when it's very difficult, I'm an optimistic person. So I said, why don't we do something beautiful? And we presume we're going to produce a car, like you said before, as a joke. So I did a WhatsApp group called Progetto Hypercar. And I started to put the friends that I was thinking they would accept to be part of the game, And then the game became always more engaging because after the first 2 months, then the lockdown was over. And then we said, okay, now we can meet at least, not everyone, but a part of the group was able to meet in person because we were, staying at home, having Zoom conversation and so on. And then early June, we finally met for the first time. It was very funny, because after months talking on WhatsApp or on Zoom, then you physically, and it was also funny because you don't know, I'm going to shake hand, how is it with the elbow, with punching, or what you do, It was socially a funny moment, also personally for everyone. And we said, okay, guys, now what are we going to do? Are you in? We have no money, so there is no money that we can, recover quickly. We have to put money in and have a kind of seed fund, and then see if someone is going to help us and fund with heavier money. And everyone was obviously excited. And someone said, okay, I'm going to work pro bono, so I'm not going to charge the company for the services. And someone else said, I'm going to invest. And so some of my friends, which are partners in the company, use their private money to fund the company and start doing the design.
So how do you manage convincing all these companies and partners to work pro bono?
Well, I think the background, I have an extended network built up in many, many years, and people basically know that I'm a serious person, that I love to work, and that I treat everyone in a fair way. It's a reputation you build up, and you know that you can knock on doors. And also the people that are with me in the team are alike. They are all a very reputed person and extremely talented designers and engineers. So it's a combination. I could not do it without them.
So let's take a look at the Fulminea, and please, would you comment on the different features? There will be the reveal. It's just a beautiful design. And how different is it from other supercars and hypercars?
Well, we had like a white sheet of paper, and I have also to name Luigi Memmola and Epta Design that approached me when basically we met over LinkedIn, and so Luigi Memmola, the chief of Epta Design, understood that we were looking to create this hypercar, and then he contacted me. He said, can I do a few sketches for you? And I said, okay, you can, but I'm not able to pay you. If you do a proposal, don't expect that I'm paying you. And he said, no, I'm going to make two sketches. I asked him to do something which is more traditional and something which is more extreme in design language. In Italian, extreme is estrema. Do something estremamente accattivante, or something like this. And Luigi came with two proposals. One was a little bit, I do a little joke. I call it Ferraghini, which is a cross between a Ferrari and a Lamborghini. So Luigi's first proposal was a bit like a Ferraghini, and I said, no, Luigi, I don't like this, because then people start to argue, saying, oh, this looks like this, and I hate this. So the second one, which is the one that I asked him to be more estrema, was actually the initial drawings of the Fulminea. We had some added design over time from the first sketch he did, but it pretty much is 90% what Luigi did as a first sketch. So then Luigi said, okay, voila, this is it. Then Luigi said, okay, I'm going to make you an offer which you can't deny if you allow me to design it, okay? So he was, I have to be very honest, I was very grateful to Luigi and his team that they took a big cut on their normal pricing, to design something. It's because otherwise he knew, otherwise I couldn't do it. So that's the reason why I like to say that I don't have suppliers, I have partners, because also Luigi Epta Design or Pirelli or OZ wheels or whatever. Everyone was really helping me. And I told them from the beginning, if you're looking, to have a relationship like customer and supplier, I'm the wrong person. If you want to do a partnership with us and tell a beautiful story, how something can be created from nothing in terms of having no money and having no means to do it, and we can tell the story together, well, I'm the right man. So they all agreed, and the one that didn't agree, they stopped working. So we all only took the one that were agreeing with our philosophy. So this is very unique. And then, of course, I wanted the whole thing to be sustainable, and it had to be, well thought through the whole process, how we are going to engage and how are we going to use the material, not wasting the energy to build materials, etc., how to recuperate everything. So it is really in our philosophy, because it's our own lifestyle as well. And of course, we needed to have an incredible performance, but I always said that I don't want to be a record breaker. I don't want to break the fastest lap on the Nürburgring or the fastest 0-100, because the moment you do it, the next day you have somebody beating it. So of course I want a car which is with a stunning performance. Of course I want a car that do a very fast 0-100. Of course, this is obvious with a car that has more than 2,000 horsepower. But I wanted a car that gives you the feeling that you're basically fulfilled into driving it, where the people will not say, I'm missing the rumble of the 12-cylinder, I'm missing the exhaust, I'm missing this. I don't want people to say they miss. I wanted people to say they are fulfilled by driving it. So all this is mixed into the technology, and all this is mixed with passion coming from our feeling how the future should look like.
So talking about technology, the Fulminea is not just another beautiful hypercar. Behind the beautiful body, there is a tech lab on wheels. It's just incredible. You are using a breakthrough battery technology. What is revolutionary about it?
Yeah, I have to mention also that we are partnering with, like for the electric motors and inverters, we are partnering with brands that are very well known, like McLaren. So there is not anybody behind the whole thing. Thankfully, we have partners which have an incredible track record. So we, of course, are fitting these components into the car. But as you said, there is nothing magic into an electric motor. It's very well known since 150 years or more. But the battery makes a difference. It is what is the differentiator in hypercars and supercars in the traditional automotive world is the motor, the engine, the internal combustion engine, which has 8 or 12 cylinder, for instance. In our case, it is the battery. The battery power allows you to go further, allows you to charge quicker, and allows you to get more power out in very few seconds.
Can we have numbers? So you said you can go further. So the range, what is the range?
Yeah, it's 520 kilometers. The thing is that because of the use of the solid state cells, which are made by our supplier, and solid state means that there is no liquid electrolyte like in the traditional batteries that 99% are used in electric cars today. So missing the liquid electrolyte means that your car can have a much smaller battery in size and in weight. So having 100 kilowatt hour of energy means that I can be roughly half the size of the batteries we know today and we use today. And of course, much longer time in terms of lifespan. and no risk of catching fire, because the liquid
This is
electrolyte
important.
still contains some chemicals which can catch fire if it goes out of control, if the heat builds up, like the so-called thermal runaway, then you have a problem. With this technology, the battery is totally safe. It cannot catch fire. That means that, of course, also if you have a crash, you don't have to risk, that you're getting the fire into your car, into your vehicle. So this is a revolutionary technology, and it's still quite costly. That's the reason why we can do it in a hypercar, which costs 2 million euros.
Yes, because I think the battery pack costs 300,000 euros, right?
Yeah, the cost,
So
it's a lot of money by itself, but everything high-end technology is very costly initially. Once you can then scale it to industrial level, and it comes much cheaper. It was, with everything. Maybe you remember the first CD players, how expensive the first CD players were, and also the CD itself, or the first cell phones, right? They were costing a lot, and everything goes down once you start using it. And I think that the rich people should be the ones that are helping us in developing this technology by buying the car and then getting the price down.
So it seems like you are using top-notch technology that is only used in the racing industry usually.
Correct, yes. In the racing, the budget that the racing teams have, it's out of this world. If you take Formula One, for instance, but also Formula E, Formula E is also getting more expensive year by year, because there is always more sophistication that it's added. With the fact that we can have a customer that can pay these prices, we can achieve the budgets in terms of the cost of the components that otherwise it would not be able to be achieved if you have to do like a family car.
So going back to the solid state batteries, because this is quite interesting. This is something that is not used at the moment in the automotive industry. So you're a pioneer, and
sure, yes. You wanted to say something else?
Yes, and it has another advantage you didn't mention. It's easy to recycle.
It is much easier. It is much easier to recycle, because without the liquid electrolyte, you can separate the materials easier and basically recuperate 99% again. But you're also extending the life. So you're using the battery for longer time, for more years, before recommissioning the battery, because it's not that after you take it out from the car, you get it directly into recycling. You can use it, for instance, for energy storage from energy coming from solar panels or windmills. And then after the so-called second life, eventually you can mix it into new batteries. So you recycle, you crush all the components, you separate the minerals, and then you mix it into new material. So typically you can use 1/3 of the recycled part and 2/3 of fresh part, but you're going to use everything. I mean, and this is the only way we should continue to grow into this industry, to be fully sustainable, because we live on a planet which is having ending resources, and we see it with water. In Italy, we have an incredible drought. The Po River, the biggest river in Italy, has almost no water. And then when you come closer to the Adriatic Sea, where the Po is flowing, you're experiencing right now that the salinification of what was the water of the river is becoming a big issue also for agriculture. So if you have salty land and salty water, you can't have the cultures like we are having in the North Italian part of the Po River today. So these are all issues that needs to be addressed, and we have to be also telling the whole story. When whatever we do in the company, we want also to claim that we do it with a sustainable mind. We are not going to save the planet because we do 20, 30 Fulmineas a year. But
no, but you show that a hypercar can be sustainable.
yeah, and also engaging with partners, engaging with customers, engaging with like interviews like I'm doing with you now, Stephanie. You simply get to a larger crowd, and then everyone can start thinking and say, what can I do in respect to being more
Okay,
sustainable?
we're having
the reason is that
we're having some sound problems. So you're going to reconnect, and I'm going to show the car again.
Okay, I disconnect.
Okay, so welcome everyone to that episode of Be My Guest. I'm hosting today Gianfranco Pizzuto from Automobili Estrema, who is producing a hypercar with breakthrough battery technology and extreme design as well. I'm going to show you the car again because it's just absolutely amazing. Here you see it. It's called the Fulminea. It's full electric. The performances are just incredible. It has over 2,000 horsepower and goes from 0 to 200 miles or 0 to 320 kilometers an hour in under 10 seconds. So it's absolutely incredible. And but what is really interesting behind the design is this new technology that is really a pioneer in the battery world. So Gianfranco is coming back, and he will tell us more about the company that is making the battery pack, because they're European, and for him it's important that we start thinking in terms of energetic independence and production independence as well. So hopefully he will be all right. Here is. So Gianfranco, are you back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. My iPhone was super hot. So
you need to put some solid state batteries in your iPhone.
For sure. But also the other problem is the cover. The cover that you put on the iPhone to protect it when it falls. The cover, I forgot that when we have this kind of conversation over the iPhone, we should take this off because this is building up heat, and now it's working back again. But so, you're right. Solid state is the future.
So I was talking about your partner who is making those solid state batteries is from Belgium, and his name is AB.
Yeah, we have actually two options, or there are always more options coming in the last months, which is very good. So one of our partners is AB Group in Belgium with Professor Noshin. And then the other partner is Saku, which is an American company. The difference between the two, this is why I like also those two options, is that Saku is using 3D printer to build the solid state. Yeah, it's a very new technology. And they do the 3D printing because so they do the shape of the battery the way you need to have it inside the car. Instead of having standard cells, so AB is more traditional, so he's having pouch cells or prismatic cells, and has a fixed form. Saku, what is Saku doing in addition is that because it's 3D printed, the cell can be designed the exact form like you wanted to have it inside the car. So it's even taking all the millimeters of space that are left, that are not used in the traditional way. So they are going one step further, and this is why I like the partnership with them as well, because we can have more options. We'll see. This is still in the baby shoes. We have still to put it inside a car to see, because one thing is the theory, and one thing is then getting into practicality and have it inside the car. So we are doing, like you said at the beginning, the lab on wheels. We really are the lab on wheels, because we can exchange one battery pack, because the outer shape is the same. So it's interchangeable. So we can take out one battery, and then we try another battery pack, put it back, and then see the difference in performance. And we can do it very quickly compared to traditional companies that are very difficult in terms of decision taking and decision making.
So your Belgian partner AB, is also planning on building a gigafactory, a solid-state battery gigafactory.
Yeah, but the process is they start with a smaller scale in the megawatt hour range, because you can't jump from the lab into the gigafactory immediately. What is the necessities at the beginning? It's a pilot line. It's called pilot line. So you see if this, what you have done in the lab, is coming also at industrial scale. So it's a long process, and it's a very costly process. So that's how then AB goes from using the lab, getting into the pilot line, and then getting into the gigafactory. But now Europe is very much interested in getting European companies doing gigafactories in Europe, and not Chinese or Koreans like it is today.
So back to the production of the Fulminea. When will we be able, will people be able to buy it?
Well, you can buy it right now if you want. When you will get it, that's another thing. So if someone wants to place an order, we are taking pre-orders. But if everything goes well and we have the prototype ready by the end of this year, our first running prototype, not the one that is without the powertrain that you have seen in the pictures. So if the plan goes according to plan, then at the end of the year, we have the real car. Then we have to do testing. So it will be another year of testing. Let's say that, crossing fingers, end 23, beginning 24, the first customer can have the first Fulminea.
So the Fulminea will cost 2 million euros a piece.
Correct. Yes.
And it will be road legal, right? It's not only for track. It's
what we call in our case, it's the IVA homologation. It's street legal, yes, indeed, and it's a homologation kind of not the full homologation like all cars that you see in full production, because that would cost us too much. So it's a street legal car. You can, of course, go on the street. So we have to get the approval in every state, like in France or in Italy. We need to go to the approval department and get the car tested that it's compliant with all the rules. We typically, in our case, because we are close to south of Germany, we like to work with the German TÜV. They are very experts, very good in this. So the German TÜV will be ideally our partner for the homologation process.
And you will produce 61 units. Why 61?
Because if God will, in July 8th, I will turn 61. Because I'm born in 1961 and I'm going in, what is it now, 2 weeks? So in 2 weeks, if God will, I will turn 61. And 61 was also the number of the Fisker Karma that I use regularly as my daily drive. So I had Karma number 61. And 61 is a bit like a magic number for me. And 61 cars will be the run of the Fulminea Coupe. And then 61 of the Fulminea, which we don't want to call Roadster because it's an English term, we want to give the Fulminea without the roof an Italian name. And I had on LinkedIn asking people to give me some ideas. I received more than over 100 suggestions, and I picked 24. And over the weekend, together with all the other team members, we will decide one of the 24 names, how we will name the Fulminea without the roof. So yeah, 61 plus 61.
So
Correct.
you are already thinking of the future, of course, and of future models.
Yes.
And
Yes.
here are the models you are thinking of.
Exactly. We have the coupe, the first one, which is in the lower part of the picture. Then we have the one without the roof. And then we have a four-seater, which we also want to produce once we were successfully launching the coupe or the coupe and the one without the roof. So this is, of course, the vision. I think no matter what kind of company you have, if you start from scratch or if you are an established company, you need to have a vision. Without a vision, you go nowhere. And our vision is to become what was 80 years ago or 75. I think they made 75 years of history, Ferrari. So everyone started one day from scratch. Okay, so my wish is that someone in 75 years can say, yeah, Automobili Estrema, of course, yes, I know them, and they make beautiful cars. So I'm not making Automobili Estrema just for myself and for my pleasure. I also have families and kids, and I would like that maybe someone is continuing to do what I started.
What is your vision of the future of mobility?
That's a good question. I think that in the future we will need less cars. Less cars because we can't continue to think that we can produce 80, 90 million cars a year like we do right now. We have to use it better in a wise way. And, like car sharing, autonomous drive, all these new technologies and new systems will allow to make big savings for us, for the mankind and for the planet. That means that we might use the car as an enjoyment, like in the case of the Fulminea, but to commute, we have other means, better means. In a lot of cities in Europe, you basically can use the bicycle. I always like to see Copenhagen or to visit Copenhagen. Basically, I think 60-70% of the population is riding a bike and not a car. And I think that sometimes we must go back in time and get out the bicycle again. So in most of the cities will be a two-wheeler. I think it either assisted with an electric motor like an e-bike or a simple bike or scooters. And then, of course, the public transportation. And we need to take the cars out of city centers and move differently. This is my vision, to recuperate space, to have more green, more park, less traffic, less pollution, because, everything you do, you transform, you do pollute. Also, if you do an electric car, you pollute because you create something and you have to use energy. So the less we produce, the wiser we produce, the better. And also, get something decentralized, building smaller batches of whatever we need in more location, and not like we see right now what happened in China and Russia, that we depend from China for the supply of components and from Russia from our energy. So we have to learn because we don't have an alternative. And finally, I think, because I'm an optimistic person, I think that mobility will find its way in a very sustainable way. And for the next 20 years will be electric. Believe me, it will be electric. There is no better way.
So the Mercedes EQXX just completed a Stuttgart Silverstone drive with one charge. So it's a 1,200 kilometers. So this is a very good signal, isn't it?
Yeah, this is fantastic, because you see, not everyone is a pioneer. Okay, so a very, very, very small percentage of the population have the spirit, the vision, like people like me. Okay, most of the people are consumers and go with the mainstream. So the mainstream goes when everything is easy. No, so if you have an electric car like the Mercedes EQXX that you just said, 1,200 kilometers, there is no range anxiety because it's a lot of kilometers. And who makes 1,200 kilometers a day? Nobody. So this is the demonstration that the sustainability and also the mobility, sustainable mobility, is the future, because we start thinking to make the batteries here with our resources, not go in other places and take it from Africa or whatever. All the minerals are coming. We are thinking differently now. We are thinking of making these components here in Europe. We use our technology, our experience, our passion, because without passion, you cannot create a product like the Mercedes EQ. I mean, it's also very streamlined. I have seen pictures this morning because I was reading the same article you just read. I think it's a beautiful line as well. It's very streamlined, very efficient. It's incredibly efficient. It's the same way we want to be, right? So if you add passion, the knowledge, the technology, etc., I think you're going to win. You're going to be sustainable, because without passion, there is no sustainability. You have to be passionate about doing what you do, make it better than you did it before. It's always, going one step forward. That is bringing humanity to the next level. And we have to think about the one coming after us. Right now, we are not leaving our world in a very good way, right? So we have to improve. We have to change direction. We have to improve, because otherwise there will be not many generations after us that can still stay on this planet.
Well, thank you, Gianfranco. Automobili Estrema is made of a team of passionate people, obviously, working, most of them pro bono. So it's
and I want to thank them.
Driven by passion.
Driven by passion, and I hope they still are a bit patient, because funding is on the way. So it will not be that they have to work pro bono forever, of course. And I just want to underline how grateful I am to have such an incredible team. It's not just made up. It is really coming, from very deep. And we are now 2 years together. And okay, still long way to go, but we did also a long way, which is behind us. So, and thank you, Stephanie, for the opportunity to tell our story to your audience.
Congratulations to the whole team. It's just a beautiful project, and as you explained to us, extreme in many ways.
Yes.
Well, thank you, grazie mille, Gianfranco.
Grazie a te, Stephanie. È stato un piacere.
Merci à tous. Thank you, everyone, for following this show, and have a beautiful afternoon.